So for those of you who have not heard my mission yet, I am going to repeat it, and I want to dive a little deeper into one part of my mission. And at the same time, I am inviting you to check in with your mission and to check in with what parts of that mission you actually do not live yet. Maybe out of fear, maybe out of judgment, maybe out of showing yourself fully. So my mission is to guide female leaders into their most limitless self-expression, to build their empire, to make the impact they know they came here to do, all while experiencing themselves in deep pleasure, with ease, in an effortless way, and very limitless. So part of my mission is pleasure, ease, the limitless, and effortless. I want to start from behind the limitless part, because I know that we are all limitless. And I want you to really experience yourself and your business in that way. But before you are actually able to experience the limitless out there, and with limitless, I really mean limitless, like something that you can't even imagine with your mind yet, because your mind doesn't even know it exists. This is the kind of limitless I'm talking about. But then in order for you to experience that limitless, you really have to drop into yourself. You really have to drop into source, which is you. Because with your mind, you're not creating the limitless. With your mind, you're creating the limited. That's why a big part of my mission, of my work with you, is guiding you back into your being, into your essence. Because that's the only way how you can actually do the limitless, how you can actually be limitless, by being limitless. You do the limitless by being limitless. So it all starts with you and the deep connection with yourself. So then experience it out there in your business, in your life, doing all these kind of crazy things that you can't even think of right now. And this is, again, you're doing the limitless, not by thinking about it. You're doing the limitless by being it. And therefore, it requires you to really get out of your mind. You might even lose your mind over and over again on that journey. And that's just part of it. And I want you to be okay with that. Because there's no way in you doing the limitless without you losing yourself. Because you gotta crush a few identities that you think you are. And that identity is related to the limited, to the limited. Anyway, so that's one part of my mission. You doing the limitless by being limitless. And I don't want you to work hard for it. I don't want you to fight for it. I don't want you to prove yourself. I really want you to be. And again, this is where it comes back to you connecting deeply with your essence. You connecting deeply with your truth. This is when it starts to get easy. When you are embodying your truth, when you are who you feel like being, when you are showing up as the one you know you are. And it doesn't matter if it's related to your business, if it's related to your relationship, if it's related to money, if it's related to your friendships. I want you to have it all. But in order to have it all, you have to own it all. You have to be it all. And this is the moment when it starts to be easy, when you give yourself the permission to be. So it's not really about the doing anymore. It's more about the being. Being of who you truly are. And the beauty is, once you give yourself the permission is, or once we are giving ourselves the permission is, that it all becomes very colorful. It all becomes very, very different. It all becomes very alive, because we no longer look around how things have to be done. Instead, we're giving ourselves the permission to do it our own way. And our own way is always very unique. But therefore, again, you have to connect with yourself, with your truth. And you have to give yourself the permission to follow along, no matter how scary, no matter how weird, no matter how different. And what you're doing is you're paving the way for others to follow. Because doing the limitless is actually connected to the effortless way, is connected to ease. You won't be able to do the limitless fighting for it, working hard for it, just not working. The only way to experience the limitless is by being connected to source, connected to you. And this is when you actually start connecting. It's all about, in the end, it's all about you. So then when you start connecting with you, this is the moment you start experiencing ease. And when I'm talking about ease, I'm not talking about there won't be any challenges. There will be challenges every time you're opening up for a next level, every time you're opening up for an elevated version of yourself. There will be challenges involved, because the conditioning is going to be crashed. Because you have a certain idea about that next level in your mind, and that needs to be crashed. You need to actually drop into your body, drop into your truth, drop into your essence, which is your soul. So then ease, it's just like you being at ease with what is. And ease and effortless kind of like melt together. The effortless is not that there won't be any effort involved. There actually is quite some effort involved in you being limitless. Because every part of your body is programmed that you are limited. So of course it takes effort then for you to start believing in something new, to actually be limitless. So yes, there is effort involved, but what effortless means, less. The focus is on the less. Less effort is being involved when you're giving yourself the permission to do it your way, to actually be plugged into you, follow you. And then the last part of my mission is pleasure. And pleasure, I'm feeling it, just like saying that word is activating something within me. Like my heart is like cracking wide open, and like my body is being like turned on, like pleasure, yeah. Because I don't want you to just do the limitless. I don't want you to just have it easy. What I want you is to experience yourself while you're doing all of that in deep pleasure. And deep pleasure is something that is available for you in every moment. And that is why my way of understanding pleasure, and that is my way of guiding you into pleasure. Because you being alive, you existing, is all reason for pleasure. And we often think about pleasure as something outside of us. But the way I am teaching you pleasure is your state, is who you are with all that you are. This is deep pleasure. Your heart wide open, your fire ignited for that mission, for you, for those people whose life you're going to touch big time. This is pleasure, being you. And it has been a very, very beautiful journey for myself to experience myself in deep pleasure. Because, and now I want to talk a little bit more about pleasure, because that is one part that makes my work very unique, the way I'm working with you. And that's actually the part where there are a lot of different opinions about that. Limitless, you know, that's what you're getting out there everywhere. Like effortless, ease, yeah. I mean, that's what people want. But what I'm bringing in as well is the pleasure, ecstasy, orgasmic. This is part of my essence, and this is part of my mission. And I want you to check in with you. What is part of your mission? What is really part of your essence? What is it? That you might not have gone out yet and share it, but what you know, it really is part of your being. And you know when you use that, when you go out with that, that whole thing that you're offering is going to be very unique, because that's your unique spice that you're putting into that whole package. So for me, it is pleasure. And pleasure, I want you to experience pleasure not only when you are experiencing your big milestones. I want you to experience pleasure in every moment. For example, right now, this is like I'm experiencing deep pleasure. I'm deeply touched by the words I'm speaking, by the transmission I'm giving to you. At the same time, so my heart is wide open, as I just said, like love and gratitude. At the same time, there's that excitement, that fire. And for me, it's a combination of both. That heart wide open, like very soft. And that intensity, that fire, that excitement. And this kind of pleasure is a pleasure that you can experience in the simplest moments in your everyday life. When you're doing the dishes, when you're preparing like a tea for a loved one, and just out there in nature walking, when you're sitting on your computer doing what you love. I don't know. So I really want you, part of my mission is to bring pleasure back, to make it your most natural state that you're in. To make ecstasy, ekstase, that is your most natural state. Like being high on life, being high on you. But we label it as something extraordinary, these kind of states, because we're so used to suffering. But my mission is to make it your most natural state again. To be in ecstasy, just being you. Just being you, being in ecstasy, feeling that pleasure of being you. So then what happened here as well, when I started sharing more of that part of me, that by the way, I remember when I was a teenager, there was always that kind of fire in me. But I needed that fire was being pushed down because it was too much. I remember often the way I dressed, it was too much. I was told to don't show too much. But it was my way of expressing myself. It was not to impress anybody. It was just like the way I was expressing myself, the way I desired to express myself, which was not okay. So I kind of shut it down. So then that part of the way I was dressing myself kind of came back over the last few years. If you go to my Instagram profile, where you can start following me, to receive daily input there, daily inspiration. There are a lot of pictures that are more sensual, with little clothes on, with just like a piece of fabric, playing with that. That is part of my essence, to remind you to experience yourself in that way. That sensuality, that depth, that intimacy, love making. And it's all about you. It's not about anything out there, it's all about you. So then what happens, of course, when I started sharing these kind of pictures, which I did not do to impress anybody. Honestly, I could not care less. Making these pictures, taking these photos, letting these photos be done was such an experience for me that I will always keep in my heart. For me, it was about the experience. Taking these pictures, it was the experience. It was like a very, very special shooting. Both of them that I took, very special. Me connecting with my truth, me expressing my truth. So then, of course, what happens when you go online sharing these kind of pictures, sharing this kind of content about sensuality, about love making with yourself, about pleasure, about ecstasy, about orgasmic? There will be some people who just understand your message in a very different way. There will be, like what happened in my case, men reaching out, commenting the pictures, receiving the message very differently. But honestly, I couldn't care less. And that's what I want you to do as well, to not care about those who get your message in a way that it was not intended. To really care about those who you are going to touch deeply, those who you're going to transform by showing up as you. So this is what I'm going for. To invite women, to invite female leaders, to invite powerful visionaries, to not just create a business, to not just create success, to not just create the life they love, to really make love with themselves, to make love with that journey, to be in ecstasy while doing it, experiencing themselves in deep pleasure, giving themselves the permission to just surrender, to make love with themselves and with what is, to be in deep pleasure in every moment. And therefore I have to show up like that, to be able to reach them, for those who it's meant for. And then when you're receiving messages like what it really does to them, those who are ready to receive it, then anything else doesn't matter anymore, because you know that's why you're doing it. Not for those who don't get your message. And there will always be people out there who don't get your message. But I don't want you to focus on that. I want you to focus on those whose life you're going to touch big time by sharing your message fully, passionately, with love, in truth. And that's my mission, and that's what I want you to do. Nothing less, to go out and to share your mission with every part of you, every part of that story that you know it's relevant. And for me, my part is pleasure. And with pleasure, there comes along the love making, there comes along love, there comes along ecstasy, there comes along the intensity, that fire, that passion, there comes along the heart cracked wide open, there comes along the ecstasy of being you. And that is the main cause of my mission, to be in pleasure being you. And all the rest is just part of that, what comes along with it. The business, the success, the wealth, the relationship, the partnership, the money, the limitless. But my main focus is to open you up to experience yourself in deep pleasure. And experiencing yourself in deep pleasure means you have to give yourself the permission to express yourself. So pleasure is very correlated, it's related to self-expression, it's related to permission, it's related to go forward, it's related to doing it your unique way. That is deep pleasure, creating from deep within. And that's what I want you. And if you feel called to go on that journey with me, all you gotta do is you gotta check my website and see what I have to offer for you, whatever fits well for you. With this being said, that's my mission here. And I'm excited to meet you when you're ready for experiencing yourself and your life and your business and everything that comes along with that. And deep pleasure with ease, effortless, playful, and very, very limitless.